AITA for canceling a $6,000 anniversary trip because my parents called it cheap? My name is Rachel. I am 28 years old, and I work as a marketing coordinator for a mid-sized company downtown. I have been living on my own for 5 years in an apartment in a vibrant neighborhood. It is not huge, but it is mine, and it took a lot of work to build this life. My parents, Michael and Janet, are 62 and recently retired. My dad was an accountant for most of his life. My mom was a high school teacher. They live in the same house where we grew up in the suburbs. On a good day, it is a 30-minute drive. With traffic, it feels like forever. And then there is my sister, Brooke. She is 25. She is 3 years younger than me and still lives with my parents. She works part-time at a clothing boutique, and outside of that, her life consists of going out, buying things, and hanging out with friends. As long as I can remember, Brooke has been the favorite, though they would never say it out loud. She is the one who can do no wrong. They applaud her for anything. I, on the other hand, am the one who has to be responsible, the one who needs to understand the older one. In recent years, I have been the one to put up the money when things get complicated. 2 years ago, when my dad's car broke down, I gave them $1,000 for the repair. Last year, when my mom needed dental work, I paid $900. I never asked them to pay me back because, to me, that is how family works. If you can help, you help. But everything started to go wrong about a month ago. Like every Sunday, we went to my parents' house for dinner. The house smelled of home cooking. Pot roast with roasted vegetables and fresh bread. The 4 of us were at the same old wooden table, the one already marked with glass rings, homework stains, and from so many dinners I have lost count. My dad was serving when he cleared his throat and put down the spoon. "Your mother and I have an announcement," he said, in that serious voice he uses when he wants to be heard. My sister clapped like a little girl. "What is it? What is it?" Brooke said, excited. My dad looked at my mom and she straightened up, as if she were about to give a speech. "We are going to have a big party for our 35th wedding anniversary," my dad said. "Next month." "How lovely," I said, smiling. "That said," my mom continued, fixing her gaze on me, "this year your father and I are expecting special gifts from our children. It is an important anniversary." I felt a knot in my stomach, but I forced myself to smile. I had been saving money for months. I had not mentioned it because I wanted it to be a surprise. "Do not worry, Mom," I said. "You are going to be very happy with what I have planned." Dinner continued as if nothing had happened, but I could not stop thinking about the gift. Over the next few weeks, I would sit with my laptop at night searching for options. I wanted something big, something that would truly feel like a way of saying thank you for everything. In the end, I found the perfect plan. A week in the Riviera Maya for my parents. Flights to Cancun and from there. A transfer to the hotel. A 4-star hotel near the beach with great reviews, breakfast and lunch included. It was all very well put together. I got a good price for booking in advance and during the mid-season. In total, $6,000 for both of them. It was a huge amount for me. It was what I had managed to save through discipline, cutting expenses, and saying no to things I wanted. But I was excited. Truly. I decided to surprise them the following Sunday. I prepared a presentation with photos of the hotel, the pool, the room, and the beach. It looked beautiful. When Sunday came, I was nervous, as if I were about to deliver major news. After dinner, I took the laptop out of my bag and placed it on the table. "I have something to show you," I said. My parents pulled their chairs closer. Brooke stood behind them, as if she were part of the jury. I took a deep breath. "Surprise," I said, opening the presentation. "You are going to the Riviera Maya for a week." I showed them pictures of the hotel. "Look, it is very well rated. It includes breakfast and lunch every day. The beach is a few minutes walk away. There is a pool, activities, and you can explore natural sinkholes, the ancient ruins at Tulum, go on a catamaran trip, or just relax." I kept talking, full of excitement, but then I started to notice something strange. My mom's smile looked forced. My dad was nodding, but without any enthusiasm. And Brooke was pursing her lips, as if she smelled something foul. When I finished, there was an awkward silence. My mom was the first to speak. "And how much does that cost?" she asked, as if she were interrogating a purchase. $6,000 for both of you," I said proudly. And honestly, that is a great deal for a week. There was no how exciting. There was no hug. Nothing. Brooke let out a dry little laugh. That is so cheap, she said. I looked at her confused. What do you mean, so cheap? Brooke grabbed the laptop, pulled it toward her and started flipping back through the photos, looking for flaws as if it were her job. Look at this, Rachel, she said, pointing at the screen. They only get 2 meals a day included? What about dinner? You think that is a good gift? But the hotel has excellent reviews, I said, trying not to sound defensive. Besides, Brooke went on as if she had not heard me, you say the beach is a few minutes walk. You mean they have to walk? No. The beach needs to be right there, as you step out of the hotel. My heart started to beat faster. Not from excitement but from anger and embarrassment. Brooke, it is not far, I said. It is a short walk. She kept scrolling through the photos, twisting her mouth, criticizing everything. I would have never chosen this for my parents, she said, as if delivering a final verdict. My mom nodded without a second thought. Rachel, I was expecting something more elegant, my mom said. You have a job. You can afford it. You should double the budget, and then it would be something we would actually like. I felt like I had been slapped. Double it. I repeated. Of course, Brooke said, now enthusiastic. At the very least, tickets with premium seats. You are not going to send them crammed in like that. And a 4-star hotel? No, Rachel. My parents need a 5-star hotel. A suite. A spa. They should be welcomed properly. It should feel luxurious. Luxurious. I said, my voice barely a whisper. Yes, she continued. With an included minibar, spa treatments, massages, dinners at fine restaurants, excursions. That is the minimum for an anniversary. I clenched my hands on my lap to keep them from trembling. Within my budget, this is one of the best packages, I said slowly. $6,000 is not a small amount. It took me months. But Brooke was already on her phone, completely ignoring me. Done, she announced suddenly. I have already found the perfect place. She went over to my mom and showed her the screen as if presenting a trophy. My mom leaned in, smiled, and nodded. This one, yes, my mom said. I looked over her shoulder and almost fell backward. How much is it? I asked. Brooke looked at me as if I were slow. $6,000 per person, she said calmly. With flights and everything. I froze. I quickly did the math in my head. $18,000 for 3 people, I said. Exactly, my mom replied, as if she were talking about buying groceries. And then she delivered the final blow. Brooke should go with us, my mom said, still looking at the hotel on the phone. Since she was the one who found something so nice. I felt my stomach sink. What do you mean Brooke should go with you? I said. Why? My dad spoke for the first time since it all started in a serious tone as if it were obvious. Because someone has to help us, he said. We are older now, and traveling is more difficult for us. Brooke understands these things. She knows about hotels and how to manage all that. Brooke smiled, pleased. Yes, I would help you, she said. Reservations, the spa, dinners, everything. My mom looked up at me. So it would be $18,000 in total, she said. $6,000 each. The air left my lungs. That money was almost everything I had managed to save in years. It was not just a purchase. It was my safety net, my peace of mind, my security. The 3 of them were looking at me as if they were waiting for me to say, of course, right away. I looked at them and the only thing I felt was disbelief. This is insane, I said quietly. What is so insane about wanting the best for your parents? Brooke snapped, offended. I found them the perfect trip. You should be thanking me. My chest burned. You want me to pay $18,000 for a trip that was my gift for 2 people, and has now turned into a luxury trip for 3? I asked. That is right, my mom said without hesitating. That is what we expect from you. I was silent for a few seconds, not because I had nothing to say, but because in that moment reality hit me like a ton of bricks. I had been doing this for years. I remembered when I bought my dad a big screen TV for his birthday. It cost me $750, and for me it was a stretch. Instead of being excited, he complained. You should have bought a bigger one, he said. You should not be cheap with family. Then my mom's cell phone about 6 months ago. I gave her $600 to buy a new one. She was annoyed. Well, this one turned out to be so basic, she said. Oh well, I will have to make do. I told her I had a similar one. And she responded as if I had disrespected her. Do not compare, she told me. It is not the same. And every Christmas was the same. They would give me a gift list with each item costing $250 or $300, as if I were a department store. And when it was my turn, their gifts were cheap things on sale without any thought as to whether I would like them. One year it was a green scarf when they know perfectly well I do not like wearing green. Another year it was a plain mug, the kind you buy just to get it over with. Suddenly I felt tired. Truly deeply tired. I calmly closed the laptop and put it back in my bag. You know what? I said, looking at the three of them. You are absolutely right. My mom frowned, confused. What do you mean? That this trip is not for you, I said. I get it now. You want something much more expensive and luxurious than what I can give. I stood up. I slung my bag over my shoulder. You have very high standards, I said. And I cannot meet them. Rachel, where are you going? My dad asked. Home, I replied. Brooke let out a laugh as if I were putting on a show. Rachel, do not be ridiculous, my mom said. We are talking about your gift. No, I answered, looking her straight in the eye. We are talking about Brooke's gift. Brooke's eyes widened. She is the one who chose the hotel. She knows about luxury. She wants to go and help you. So she already knows how to solve everything. I walked toward the door, and the saddest part was that no one stopped me. No one said wait or tried to hold me back. No one said, let us talk about it. They stayed at the table looking at Brooke's phone, as if I no longer mattered. On the way back to my apartment, I drove with my hands gripping the steering wheel, replaying the conversation over and over, getting angrier with each passing minute. It was nighttime and the traffic was lighter, but I felt a weight on my chest. When I got home, I made myself a coffee and sat at my kitchen table. My hands were shaking, a mix of anger and sadness. I remembered when I first started helping them with money. First, they were grateful. My dad would hug me. My mom would get sentimental. They would tell me they did not know what they would do without me. But at some point that stopped. My help ceased to be something they appreciated and became an obligation. And worse, nothing was ever enough. I grabbed my phone. First, I canceled the hotel. I had booked with a flexible cancellation policy, precisely to avoid risking so much money, so they refunded my deposit without any issues. Then I canceled the flights. For that, I was charged a penalty of about $200, but I did not even care. And yet, the only thing I felt was relief. I hung up and sat there feeling a strange mix. Sadness, yes, but also peace. The peace of knowing I had stopped everything before throwing my savings away on a gift no one valued. I took a hot shower trying to wash away the knot in my chest. I thought maybe they will get over it. Maybe they will call and tell me they got carried away. But that did not happen. The next few days were pure silence. Until Wednesday night, while I was making myself some dinner, I got an email notification. It was from Brooke. The subject line read, "Trip breakdown and costs." I felt the blood drain from my face. I opened the email and saw a spreadsheet, as if I were a company. Everything was itemized. Flights with premium seats for 3. A suite in a 5-star hotel, spa, dinners, excursions, shopping money. At the bottom, in bold letters, was the total, $18,000. And the message ended with a sentence that made me laugh, but out of rage. Rachel, transfer this amount to my parents' account by Friday at the latest to finalize the reservations. They gave us 48 hours to confirm. I stared at the screen as if this were normal. I deleted the email without replying. The next day my phone started ringing early in the morning. First my mom. I let it ring. Then my dad. Then Brooke. I put my phone on silent. By the end of Thursday I had missed calls and messages from several relatives, as if I had committed a crime. Friday was worse. From 6:30 in the morning, calls and more calls. During my work break I opened some of the messages. Brooke had sent about 10. The first few were semi-polite reminders. Then they became demanding. "The hotel is holding the suite," one read. "We need to pay today or we lose everything." My mom's messages were pure emotional pressure. Your father and I sacrificed our whole lives for you, she wrote. The least you can do is give us the anniversary we deserve. Then she finished with something that hurt more than I wanted to admit. If you are not going to give the gift Brooke chose, do not even show up to the party. My dad wrote less, but he was just as manipulative. Your mother is very upset. Fix this. I put my phone in my desk drawer. I tried to work, but it was impossible. Every vibration made my blood boil. That night, I finally decided I was not going to keep avoiding it. I had already taken off my shoes and was about to put something on TV and make some tea when I heard loud knocking at the door. The kind of knocking a neighbor does not make. I went to the door, looked through the peephole, and there they were. My mom, my dad, and Brooke. It was almost 10 at night. I opened the door but left the security chain on. What are you doing here at this hour? I asked. Rachel, we need to talk, my dad said firmly. Open up, my mom demanded without a greeting. I sighed and unfastened the chain. My mom pushed past me first, my dad behind her, and Brooke did not even look at me. They walked in as if they owned my apartment. Brooke got straight to the point. You have lost your mind, she said. First you promise them a trip and then you cancel everything. What is wrong with you? I took a slow breath. According to you, my gift was too cheap, I said. I was just following your advice. Do not play dumb, my mom said sharply. You know perfectly well what we expect. $18,000? I said, looking at her. For a trip that started as a gift for 2 and ended up as a luxury getaway for 3. Brooke has to go, my dad said. She found the perfect place and she is going to help us. I looked at him without blinking. Then let Brooke pay for it, I said. If she has such good taste and is so eager to go. Brooke raised her voice. It does not work like that, she said. You promised the gift. You cannot back out now. I offered a $6,000 trip for my parents, I replied. That was my gift. You scorned it and chose something else that costs triple. That is no longer my responsibility. My mom stood up, red with anger. You are selfish and ungrateful, she said. We gave you life. We raised you, we fed you, we clothed you, we paid for your education. We deserve more. And that is when something inside me broke. And I have been helping you for years, I said, my voice rising. I have given you thousands of dollars. Money I never asked for back. I did it because I thought you needed help, because you were my parents. It was your duty, my dad said flatly. My duty, I repeated, feeling my throat tremble. My duty was to help when it was truly needed. And I did. But it is not my duty to maintain a luxury lifestyle for you forever. We are not asking for forever, Brooke said. Just this one trip. This $18,000 trip, I shot back. Plus the TV I bought Dad that he did not like. Plus the money for Mom's phone, which also was not good enough. Plus the lists of expensive gifts every Christmas, while I get random things. The 3 of them started talking at once. My mom was complaining, my dad was saying I was wrong, Brooke was saying I was a bad daughter. All at the same time. And that is when I exploded. Get out, I yelled. Get out of my house. They fell silent for a second, stunned. Get out right now or I am calling the police, I said, my voice shaking but firm. My mom looked at me as if she could not believe I would do it. You would not dare. I picked up my phone and started dialing. Try me, I told her. My dad took my mom's arm. Janet, let us go, he said, clenching his teeth. We will sort this out later. As she was leaving, Brooke threw one last jab at me. Everyone is going to know what kind of daughter you are. I held the door open and met their gaze without looking away. Good, I said. But tell the whole story. Tell them you demanded $18,000. Tell them how you despised the gift I could actually afford. Tell them everything. They left, slamming the door behind them. I locked it, put the chain on, and collapsed onto the sofa. My hands were trembling with adrenaline. I could not believe it. My own family came to my house at night to demand money from me. The next day, the phone started ringing again at 6 in the morning. But now it was not just them. It was everyone. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even my grandmother, whom I had not seen in a long time. My parents had called half the world to tell their version of the story. The first call was from my cousin Nicole. Rachel, what is going on? She said. Your mom called me crying. She said you canceled their anniversary trip. I bit my tongue to keep from screaming. Nicole, I said, tired. I can only do what is within my budget. I offered them a generous gift, and they rejected it. She sighed. Well, what if you try to reach a compromise? She said, as if this were a simple negotiation. Then my Aunt Rebecca called, and she was not calling to understand. She was calling to scold me. Rachel, how shameful, she said. How can you treat your parents like that? They gave you everything, and now you abandon them when they need you most. They do not need me, I replied. They want me to pay for a trip that costs more than what many people earn in months. Well, it is their anniversary, she said. They deserve to celebrate. And your mother is suffering. Your father is very unwell. Fix this. Even my grandmother, Grandma Eleanor, called me with her soft voice. Rachel, your parents are very sad, she told me. Do not be hard on them. Do what you can to make them happy. That weekend I spoke with more than 15 relatives. First I tried to explain. After a while I stopped. I gave everyone the same answer. I can only do what is within my means. The following Monday my mom sent me a text. Rachel, you are not invited to the anniversary party. It would be embarrassing for you to come, because everyone will ask about you, and I will have to tell them how selfish and ungrateful you are. I stared at the screen for a while. Yes, it hurt. Because even though I am angry, they are still my parents. But I also felt relief. An ugly but real relief. I replied, that is fine. That way I will not have to see your disappointed faces. When I sent that, I thought it was over. That they would have their party, complain, and then time would sort everything out. But that same week, just a few days before the anniversary, my mom surprised me again. I received a payment request through my banking app. $3,000. With a note. Down payment for the anniversary party banquet. I was floored. After kicking me out of the party, she still wanted me to pay for part of it. I immediately declined the request. An hour later, my mom texted me. Rachel, you already tricked us with the trip. The least you can do is pay the down payment. It is only $3,000. I did not respond. The anniversary arrived that Saturday. I did not go. I did not even go near. I stayed in my apartment, trying not to imagine everyone gathered without me. A few days later, I ran into my cousin Kevin at the supermarket. He greeted me awkwardly, as if with pity. I have to tell you, he said, lowering his voice. The party was not what they said it would be. What happened? I asked. Kevin looked around, as if he were afraid someone would hear him. In the end, they had a barbecue in the backyard, he said. Your mom cooked. They brought out plastic tables and chairs from the garage, and they served everything on paper plates. And the guests? About 20 people, he said. And honestly, your parents looked miserable the whole time. They just kept complaining about you. It was uncomfortable. Nobody knew what to say. I felt a little sad, yes, but not sad enough to regret my decision. Did they ask about me? I asked him. Yeah, a few people did, he answered. Your mom said you were very selfish, but people are not stupid, Rachel. They could tell. A lot of people just stayed quiet. You could tell there was another side to the story. After that, silence. Months of silence. No calls, no texts, no payment requests. Nothing. And for the first time in years I could breathe. Without guilt. Without waiting for another "hey, we need." Without feeling like any gift would be criticized. I focused on my life, my job, and my finances. And yes, sometimes it hurt, because it is not nice to feel like your own family sees you as a wallet. But the peace was real. Until 6 months later, something I never expected happened. I was at the office when a delivery person arrived with a huge bouquet of flowers and an elegant box. The kind that looks expensive, truly. It had a card. It said it was from my mom, my dad, and Brooke. I opened the box right there at my desk with people walking by. It was a beautiful coffee set. Fine cups, saucers, a matching coffee pot. The kind you would use to host someone important, the kind you would proudly display in your kitchen. And there was a handwritten note. Rachel, we are sorry for how things happen with the anniversary. We hope you can forgive us. With love, Mom and Dad. I stared at the gift for a long time. In years, it was the first time they had given me something that seemed chosen for me. Something that matched my taste. Something that felt like an attempt to reconnect. That set easily cost several $100s. It was not just any mug. It was not a random scarf. But I could not shake the feeling that there was something behind it. After demanding $18,000 from me, after uninviting me from their party, after trying to get me to pay the banquet deposit, now suddenly they were generous and even apologizing. It did not add up. My parents have never been the type to admit their mistakes. They have never been the type to say, "I was wrong," much less to apologize. So why now? Did they really understand they went too far? Or was this another way to pull me back in? A nice gift so I would let my guard down and go back to being the one who pays, who puts up with it, who has to understand. I took the flowers and the coffee set home to my apartment that night and placed them on my kitchen counter. They looked incredible. And the note, if someone read it without context, would sound sincere. But I could not just send a thank you after all that. A pricey gift and a short apology do not erase years of demands, criticism, and feeling like nothing I do is ever enough. So I remained silent. I kept the gift, yes. I will not deny it. I liked it. I thought it was beautiful. And a part of me wanted to believe it was sincere. But I did not call. I did not text. I just waited. Because if this was real, if they truly wanted to change, they would show it over time, not with a pretty box. And if it was a trap, I was not going to fall for it so easily again. Comment. I really hope this story touched you and made you stop for a moment to think about your own relationships. Setting healthy boundaries is one of the most important acts of self-respect we can practice. Being kind and generous to family is beautiful, but it should never come at the cost of your own peace and self-worth. You're allowed to say no when something doesn't feel right, even if it's difficult. Taking responsibility for your emotional well-being is just as important as helping others. True healing begins when we stop accepting situations that constantly drain us. Choosing peace doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. I encourage you to reflect on where you might need stronger boundaries in your life right now. You deserve relationships where your love and effort are appreciated, not expected or demanded. I'm here cheering you on as you learn to value yourself more and protect your inner peace. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.